Is the Michelin star still the bar to achieve?
There are restaurants who deliberately don't want to be reviewed by Michelin because they just don't care.
The level of standard went down a little bit. This is the best cut of steak, and you want me to cook it well done? I'm sorry, you're not gonna eat it here.
Again, speaking as a novice diner.
That was a very good distinction you just made, by the way. Thank you for saying that. Most people just don't understand that there are also levels of diners.
Yeah.
No, listen, like I have a palate. I'm not gonna eat shit, but
Sure.
at the same time, I'm not to the extent of your expertise, right? And I admire that, and that's why I actually love dining with you guys and learning more about the craft and the industry. And at the end of the day, it is an art form. I always say to people, it's a culinary art. Because I see these chefs. I should mention I'm a creative producer,
right?
And I do a food vlog show. I see how much passion and detail they put into their craft. My point being is that I know Michelin star gets thrown around a lot, and a lot of people probably watching this. I know a lot of people that's a deciding factor going to a restaurant. It's Michelin star. Coming from the film world, especially my generation, millennials, there's a lot of things going on, especially in social media, like award shows ain't shit. And, you got artists boycotting Grammys. Right? I'm just saying, that's a common thread.
Yeah.
I want to know from yourself, is the Michelin star still, the bar to achieve? Or can you still be phenomenal without that credit?
Oh, you can absolutely be phenomenal without that credit. In fact, I think that there are restaurants who deliberately don't want to be reviewed by Michelin because they just don't care. And they don't want to be lumped in with restaurants like Don Alfonso, for example, which is absolutely the worst, horrendous experience of any Michelin star restaurant I could possibly. It was actually worse than the restaurants that have no ratings.
Can you elaborate on that? Because I'm not sure who Don Alfonso is.
Don Alfonso is a restaurant that opened up, I think originally it opened up, what was it, Toronto, Victoria Street, somewhere. It was in that space.
Yeah.
And now they moved to the Harbourfront Center at the top there where Tula used to be, at the very top. Yeah, great views and all that. I mean, if you like the view of Toronto City and some train tracks. Or
right.
Waterfront. It's a waterfront.
But I mean, if you want details, okay, let's talk about a dish. Let's talk about their famous dish, the Il Gelato, with the pulverized egg yolk and mint sauce and rose-scented tagliatelle. Now, I had
when did you eat this?
I had this, what was it, last year?
Okay, so you remember exact dish.
Yeah, well, you remember things if they're amazing or horrible.
Gotcha.
Like you remember the best sex you ever had?
Yeah.
Remember the worst sex you ever had?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no. Yeah, fair. Joe's like, I've never had that sex, bro. It's like, man, no. Happy wife, happy life, right? This dish was. I had read about this dish. I gone online prior before I went to because I wanted to see what Toronto Michelin was.
Right.
I went and they ordered this. We ordered the entire menu. We did the tasting plus all the a la carte items. Me and my friend, who is a chef, like Swiss trained. This guy, runs circles around probably any chef in the city. To be honest. And we went because I like ballast. Because I can be very opinionated, especially in Toronto. I have no love for the city and its restaurants. I think that the majority of them are actual fucking garbage. So I went and I made a comment. Yeah, I made a comment about someone made a comment about Danico or something, or no, it was Blue Bloods. It was another Liberty Entertainment restaurant, and how great it was in this. And I wrote something. I showed Joe. I wrote the comment, and someone responded by saying, Grant Soto 2.0 RIP. It was so funny because I never even followed. I googled Grant Soto. I'm like, he was a guy in the city who would have very strong opinions about restaurants.
Right.
Yeah.
But out of that one comment, I was just like, all of a sudden, people were like hating me, and it's like, oh, what the fuck, I don't care about what you think. Anyways, this dish was completely and utterly wrong in every aspect. The way it was plated, the way the components were cooked. Mm-hmm. The interplay between the components themselves, the ribbon of tagliatelle, which is like a pinkish reddish color, the rose, the mint sauce, the pulverized egg yolk, which added zero flavor. It was, I think for textural contrast, and then the Il Gelato, which it looked like the outside of a quail's eggshell. If you know what that looks like, and it wasn't a gelato. It was more like because gelato's cold,
right?
And maybe it would have been better if it was cold because you can taste things less when they're colder.
Oh gosh.
No, I'm being well. It's true.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
no, I
things
didn't-
like-
yeah.
That's why you serve.
You don't think about it till it's said.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
oh yeah, that's right.
So it's like it's more like a foie mousse, a quenelle,
100%,
and it was all deconstructed. Like none of the components were touching each other on the plate. Like the mint sauce would the egg yolk would be like spattered around the plate. And brothers, I tried. I gave it the benefit of doubt. I said to my friend, I said,
Right.
I'm gonna try each component separately just to see what the flavor profiles are from each one. Bland as fuck, bland as fuck, bland as fuck. Zero fucking flavor throughout the entire dinner. That was the tapestry of flavor profiles that we got that night.
Yeah.
There was no balance. There was zero structure to the whole meal. And in terms of service, I asked the server, I said, we're going to do the entire tasting menu. We already made that reservation, but I'd like to know if we can also order every a la carte item not already being served on the tasting menu. She's like, of course. I served for many, many years. There's a cadence. Yeah, there's a way to make the meal progress in a logical fashion for your mouth, your tongue, your mind to appreciate everything.
Yeah.
And instead of figuring out the order of the dishes to serve us, she just went down the menu and all she did was order fire. Or I could tell, because all the dishes came out in the same order as they were printed on the menu, which is just bush league.
Right.
At a Michelin star restaurant? Come
Yeah.
on, man. I did
Amateur.
It's man.
Yeah.
And when I worked at restaurants that don't have Michelin stars, I took more care, and I would try to guide my guests to the best of my ability.
Right.
And if they didn't want to take my guidance, I would just do what they asked.
Yeah.
That's my job.
Yeah.
Right. To do what they asked.
Of course,
If you want your steak fucking microwaved and covered in ketchup and then
Yeah.
deep fried, fucking that's what you'll get.
Yeah.
And you don't know what the fuck you're doing, but I'll do it because that's your money. It's your
Right.
steak, right?
Customer's always right, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
They're paying
in the surface industry.
Yeah. I mean, they're paying. I mean, it depends on what restaurant you're in, but for argument's sake, this time, the customer's always right. Like David Chang doesn't do that.
Well, I was just gonna say, just to interject. I remember in Italy, my sister was not feeling well, and we wanted a soup from one of the restaurants.
Yeah.
And we wanted to just do a takeout, just a quick,
And
we couldn't take her out, and
Yeah.
they refused. And she's like, but she's really liking. It was the closest restaurant that was open.
Sure.
And they
wouldn't- yeah.
my food is not deserving to be eaten in a hotel. That's what they said to us.
Good.
And then shoot us, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? And we're Italians, right?
Yeah.
We kind of there's that deep kind of confirmation within us where we're like, we know these people.
Yeah.
We're
That's
so
valid,
familiar.
that's
Yeah,
valid.
we're just
Yeah.
damn, these guys just, again, it's an art form.
But you have to be that good.
Yeah, it's true. To back it up.
You have to be that fucking good
Yeah,
to do that.
Yeah.
You can't be any willy-nilly
Yeah.
piece of shit off the street. Like, no, you can't have it this way.
Yeah, your food's got to be good.
If your food the experience of the diner has to be excellent all the time. So anyways, going back to Don Alfonso and the shitstorm of experience that it was, the service itself was genial. She was nice. Timing, there were some timing issues. We got olive oil before bread.
You brought a camera in there too.
We brought the camera, and your guy filmed it, but I didn't know where the footage is.
The olive oil came before the bread.
Yeah, the olive oil came before the bread, and I was looking at my friend. I'm like, we tasted the olive oil. It was highly acidic.
There must be a significant gap for you to mention.
There was.
That, though.
Usually,
the olive oil came, and then 10 minutes later, the bread came.
It wasn't 10 minutes. It was like 1.5 minutes after the olive oil. But
there was a bit of a gap.
But there was but they should arrive together.
Yeah,
They were saying-
that's the
in
point.
a
My
Michelin
bad,
restaurant, back in the day, in order to get these awards, your bathroom had to be clean.
Got it. Wow, that's awesome.
I'm
trying to let you know,
this level of standard.
the level of standard for that award has went down a little bit.
So diluted.
I think it's down in Toronto. I'm not sure if it's down.
They lowered it a
elsewhere.
bit to help so Toronto could get a little bit.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt.
That may be more.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get, I'm not trying to, be an asshole, but I do think the owners of that particular restaurant group definitely knew some people and talked to some people, and there were some handshakes and
as
whatnot.
it goes, yeah.
As it does.
Back to film, man. Oscar campaigns, come on.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But again, this is why it's important to talk to people. And when I read the reviews on Google,
Yeah.
it blew me up. Everyone loved it. Oh, there were a few people who said, "Oh, it was overpriced," and overpriced is understatement.
Yeah.
It's a horrible restaurant. The food is disgusting.
Yeah.
I staunchly believe in that there are ingredients. Just do not mess with, like, just leave them alone. Like they're stars on their own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like asking.
Just don't mess it up.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just don't mess it up.
You don't need to. It's already perfect.
Yeah.
Nature's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
We fuck it all up.
Like
People fuck up nature.
It's
exactly.
Just don't. I'm not cooking it. If I cook this too much, I'm gonna mess it up. If I cook it too little, I'm gonna mess it up. So you're getting it medium rare. That's how we serve it. You know, like it's one of those things where I get a beautiful steak that, you know, we've done a lot of research to find out this is the best cut of steak at this price, and you want me to cook it well done. I'm sorry, you're not gonna eat it here.
Yeah.
You can take this home and disrespect it in your own. But not here. So like,
absolutely,
that's one of those things, man. Like, it's just don't mess it up.
That's right.
That's it. You can eat a $2 steak well done all day, because it's gonna make it taste better. You know?
Yeah, I mean, there are people who, you know, have all the money in the world, but they have
no class,
they have
no
no
taste.
Well, they have no palate. I was at Belcanto and the second time, and there was a family, and it was just a husband, wife, and their kid, young kid, like 7 or 8.
Wow.
And I was watching him eat at this 2 Michelin star restaurant, and I was thinking to myself, motherfucker, you are so goddamn lucky. And, you know, like, there was a gay couple from San Francisco sitting across from me, and the entire room just started kind of having it like chat, you know. And there were these two gold, like, mountain lion gold diggers from Russia talking about, like, the guys that they're trying to, you know, get the new cars from and stuff.
Oh, wow.
It was a very it was a
very
cool,
candid conversation.
Yeah, it was a very
Sounds like it.
they didn't participate. You know,
okay.
But the rest of us were just talking, and
Right.
I got to talking to the family, and, you know, they're world travelers, you know, and like, he's like, have you ever been to China? Have you been to Beijing? There's a restaurant there that just does duck, and they serve 5,000 people a day.
I guarantee it's
Just duck.
delicious.
Just duck.
Wow.
I guarantee
Just Peking duck.
Yeah.
Bro.
I guarantee it's the best.
And he's like,
For them to do that,
He said
yeah.
we waited in line for an hour, and he's like, it's just a line. It's like that. It's like whatever, any famous place that has like hours of lineup outside of it, like Mon Lapin or Pied de Cochon.
We went to John's and Bleecker. At Bleecker Street,
John's
and that
Pizzeria.
pizza, and I had a line, and that's 100 years old.
There you go. So it's the same kind of thing. And I looked at the kid, and I was like, I hope you don't mind if I say this, but I said, young man, I hope you know how fortunate you are to be exposed to this level of food at your age. And their parents are like, yeah, see, listen to the man. They were from London.
But you're probably
That's
looking
cool.
at this kid like a marvel. Like,
bro, I was so jealous. I was so jealous of this kid. I was so
like shaking while he's talking. I just want you to know, like, where you are right now.
Yeah, because I mean, maybe he'll develop a taste for it. Maybe he'll want to be a chef. I mean, he just looked very unimpressed by it all.
I just want to say, with all due respect, like, keep in mind, it's just like a child, like sitting a child in front of the Godfather, right? Like, are they really gonna appreciate it?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because I've been to Michelin star, like, I've seen, you know, and the food is beautiful, is delectable. But for a 7-year-old, I don't know if they could really get their head around it, you know?
Yeah, because he asked, he's like, do they have any macaroni?
Yeah, you see, yeah. Like,
so the thing is,
my point.
a 7-year-old trusts their parents, but not all the way. So if a third party is like, oh, your dad's really cool, then you're like, whoa. You know, it's like one of those things where, oh, your dad took you to that pizza joint?
Yeah.
You're a lucky 7-year-old.
No, I just felt like, you know, at that age, like, you don't see often kids, because they don't have the patience to sit down, but he was very, like, you could tell they had so much money, you know, you could smell it off of them, and the way they spoke and where they'd been.
Yeah.
And I felt like I didn't have to say it, but I wanted to say thank your parents, because one day, you know, you'll look back on these dinners, lunches and meals you've had with them, and hopefully you'll appreciate food.
Yeah.
Because people don't appreciate
food.
That's nice of you, to tell them that.
You know, so I mean, anyways, that's just an aside. You were going to say something before. I don't know if you remember.
No, I just want to, thank you. I just want to say, like, we had a lot of conversation about film before the podcast, and you clearly are, you know, an advocate for film and
movies,
the art of film. I should say that. Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino, Scorsese, all kinds. I'm curious, because I watch a lot of film, and I'm a film buff. Your depiction, the depiction of film and your take on that. Like, specifically, the trend now is The Bear, you know?
Right.
People have been watching The Bear. And I'm just curious, like, no, seriously, like, it's like me as a filmmaker seeing how a set's conducted, right? Like through, I guess, a piece of film. But I'm just curious from your take, like, have you watched it? Have you heard about it? What's your take on it?
So I've heard of it, of course, because it's so famous,
Right.
And it's won awards, and I see the clips on YouTube of the acceptance speeches and things. That's about as far as I go with the Bear. I have not watched it.
Okay.
I have not watched one episode of it. I've seen interviews around some of the actors on the show who are extremely talented. Jeremy Allen White. I mean, I think he's I've seen snippets of
He
him.
kills it. Yeah.
I've seen snippets of him in that show and others that he's in.
Maddie kills it, by the way.
Yeah, Maddie's good too.
So I worked with Maddie. I worked
Nice.
with Maddie Madison for a year at Parts and Labor when it was still open.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maddie's an amazing guy. He's a very funny dude.
Yeah, Maddie's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, Maddie's real.
Yeah, he's a real
He's
dude.
definitely a character on the show.
That's why we got along.
Yeah.
I think initially, I think I'll always get along. He doesn't really sugarcoat shit. Like when I was working with him, people change, and
No, I don't think
he's met with a lot of success and fame and celebrity, and I'm happy for him.
Who he is.
And the fact that he's still he's still a family man. He loves his kids, he loves his wife, his family, and his farm, and his dedication to real whole food. Whole Foods, slow food movement, et cetera, et cetera.
Of course.
But in terms of the Bear, I'm just not interested in a show that represents an industry I was a part of for 35 years at every single level, like from fast food to Three Mish. Does nothing for me. It's like we were talking about it. I was like, I saw some Jimmy Fallon episode where they were talking about. The focus was about drinking the water out of the quart containers, like the plastic quart containers that they used to store food for prep.
Liters,
That stood out to me. Yeah.
And
Why did it stand out to you?
It stood out to me. Well, I'm very observant. Like I like look at all the details in a shot, and then I was like, I don't know. It's just something I don't see every day, and I've never worked in a kitchen.
I guarantee Maddie wrote that in.
No, right.
He's the only chef.
But he's a consultant.
He's a consultant.
Well,
he's
he's a consultant, but he's also executive producer. Yeah. So he, of course. But for me,
that's
like,
the thing. I'm asking you that because like it would not have stuck out to me, but I would have appreciated it because I've been in places where like all you get is that water, and like and like that water like goes down very fast. You would be surprised how fast you could drink a liter of water.
Oh, I believe it with the heat
and when you work in the kitchen.
Workout, no, it just stuck out to me again because this is what I think that's what the whole show is tailored towards. Let's be honest, it's not trying to say like to chefs like this is your life. It's not trying to show a mirror. It's more like someone like myself, like the general audience.
Yeah, and I'd agree with that.
Yeah, like just kind of like understanding like the unpolished look at the glam, take away the glamour of like the culinary world, right?
Right. Yeah. No. On that note, to me, when I see that, if I see that scene or when I hear about that, I just think it's pretty fucking idiotic to think that you drink out of anything else.
Yeah.
But don't you respect it? Don't you respect it that it's
exactly? You can't have a glass in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But so you pull it apart, but don't you respect that it's authentic? What if it went the other way and they were drinking out of a glass?
It'd be funnier,
right? Oh, you'd appreciate the entertainment value. I get you now.
Less serious. I would take it less serious for sure.
I got you. No, because I'm just saying is like, let's say a chef. There's definitely those chefs out there that says, I really appreciate the authenticity of this show because they drink out of that, right?
Yeah. Right.
So
and saying corner around, I'm the king of that shit. Like, when I was working in restaurants, Maddie still makes fun of me when he sees me. I worked at Parts. I'd come out of the kitchen because it was open kitchen. Like,
right.
If you don't know the restaurant, but it was a big open space.
Parts.
So like no walls in between the kitchen or the dining room.
Pretty cool. Good restaurant, man. I enjoyed eating there.
It was an interesting. It was an interesting time.
It was fun. It was so much fun, bro. It was like
I can see it in your eyes.
loud music. Yeah. The food was good. It wasn't like, okay, world beater, but it was really good.
Awesome.
I'm like, you go there late and just like there's a club in the bottom. Yo, let's talk about that spot a little bit, man. I had a lot of fun there.
The shop.
The shop. The restaurant. The whole vibe, bro. Like, it's in like Dirty Parkdale. Like, Dirty Parkdale, I don't mean that by a negative way, but it's just like a spot where, it's not a glamour spot, but the rest of the food was amazing. They got some good Tibetan places out there, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
And like, so, man, I just remember that. It's like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I was there about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's when it was around. Yeah,
It was
about
around.
10, 11 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, and they had their limelight, and that's what Maddie like kind of took.
Yeah,
off.
I mean, it wasn't just a restaurant, right? And we
Yeah.
go back to what you said about, and I would touch on that about you cannot give 100% of yourself to more than one thing.
Yeah.
And they always struggled with, we're not just a restaurant. We also have a nightclub a venue downstairs where we book gigs and this.
You
and
can
that.
touch the roof if you're
It was a
5'8".
low ceiling. Yeah, it was a low ceiling. But they did live shows. Maddie's band played there.
Yeah.
And he had friends in bands.
Yeah.
I think what is it? Alexis on Fire.
Lex,
Used to play. Like he's friends with those guys.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
And really cool gigs and shows. It didn't do anything for me. I'm a restaurant person.
Yeah.
And I'm not a DJ lover or music.
Yeah.
I love music, but that wasn't why I went to go work there. And I tried to do my job and it didn't work out. But end of the day, going back to the I don't watch any of those shows or movies really. I mean, a movie maybe. I saw Burnt.
Burnt was with Bradley Cooper, right?
Burnt was with Bradley Cooper and Sienna Miller.
Yeah.
And that other guy who was in Rush.
Yeah.
I forget his
Daniel
name.
Brohl?
Daniel
Daniel
Brohl.
Yeah. Great actor, by the way.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, I loved him in Rush.
fantastic. Yeah,
I loved
yeah.
Rush.
Yeah, Rush was awesome.
Ron Howard,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, Rush is
that
Ron
was-
Howard. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great film.
Yeah.
There's that scene in the movie where he's trying to recruit his brigade, and he asks the kid who's like he wants to work on the line, and he's like, how much would you like to come work for me? And he's like, would you work for me for free? And the kid says, sure. He's like, what about would you pay me to work for me?
Oh yeah.
Like that doesn't happen.
That was ridiculous.
Like that's just bullshit. Like
ridiculous.
I've never
The whole thing, would
I
you
mean,
work for me for free? That's garbage.
that's
That's
very,
that's kind of disrespectful because there's a lot of
that's
people
true,
who
though.
stage.
You don't ask the
no,
question,
but there's a
it's
lot of
just
people stage for somebody. I stage for free.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But it's
But
like
you're still
It's
working.
not like, oh, I'm that egotistical. Would you work for me for free? Get out of here. That was,
Yeah.
I
They
didn't
don't-
like that.
It was a grandiose kind of gesture.
I mean, let's be honest. I worked and lived in New York City for 10 years and in restaurants of that caliber. And these chefs, they do expect you to work for them for free. They don't ask you.
They don't
Yeah,
put-
they'll
They
never
don't,
vocalize it.
they don't interview you
Right.
anyway.
Right. Oh,
Like
interesting.
the exec chef isn't interviewing for a line cook position. Like they have other people to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe a CDP or
Remember
exec.
last week we were at Charlie's place and
Yeah.
there's a new cook there.
Yeah.
And he didn't really know who he was.
But yeah.
And he's so focused. And he's a high level. He's a
remember that.
high level focused
Yeah.
chef. And there's a new cook in the kitchen. And he was like, I guess he felt a little bit like, oh, I gotta deal with a new cook, now. Like, but it's also, you're right.
Yeah.
Executive
I
chefs
remember
don't
that.
hire.
Yeah.
Well, that's why, I won't mention, but, people tried to, they asked me if I wanted to go work at Momo, opened up Momo here. And I said, with all due respect, I'm very flattered. I appreciate it, but absolutely not. I won't work as manager in Toronto anymore.
Yeah.
Like parts just soured it for me,
Yeah.
There were just differences in ownership vision and how I wanted to run the place. I want to basically can half the staff, and they're like, you can't do that. Well, you want a better restaurant or not? Like, what'd you hire me for, motherfuckers?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me a
Just straight up.
Like,
just
give me
straight
well,
up. Yeah.
that's how I am, man.
Well,
This
this is what I mean. That's what I was trying to explain to you is that before the podcast we were having conversation. You're coming from New York,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
One of the best cities in the world in terms of food culture, whatever have you.
One of, yeah.
But the standard is so high.
Yeah.
That I love Toronto. I was born in
The
Toronto.
standard is, don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
The worst meals you can also have are in New York City.
Right, but I'm just saying.
Just go to anywhere
yeah.
in Times Square. You'll
absolutely
you'll
right.
be eating shit at
Yeah.
Bubba Gump Shrimp Company.
No,
I don't give a
100%.
fuck. It's just disgusting. Man. It's gross as fuck.
I mean, at the level that it
But-
can reach.
but yeah,
because you were there.
Yeah.
When you come down, it's like no wonder you're having that conversation with. And I don't blame you. It's almost like Christopher Nolan saying, "Hey, can you direct this short film for a student?" Like the guy's his head's gonna explode. You know what I mean? Tarantino, the same thing. So it's like
Yeah.
I can see the worlds where you're coming from, and that a lot of people. You said it best earlier. Context is everything.
Yeah.
A lot of people will look at you. Let's be honest, and be like, "Well, who does this guy think he is?"
It's why I don't really talk out.
But-
and don't, yeah.
But I
don't-
always listen. I told Joe after our interaction, I said you have to look at the context.
Yeah.
This guy's not just saying I read a bunch of Google reviews. This guy lived it, breathed it.
I don't read
in
Google
New York.
reviews.
No, but you know what
Yeah,
I mean.
yeah,
Like
but I
in New
understand
York,
what you mean.
in New York City. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know. I just think it's very valid what you're saying. I find it exciting because I'm not offended. You know, obviously I'm not from the culinary world, but I find it really exciting to listen to your passion.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And don't worry, I'm unoffendable.
Yeah, there you go. Unoffendable. I like that.
All right. Well, look, guys. It's
Are we wrapping up already?
Wrap time.
Oh, goddamn, that went by so fast.
I know, bro. It's like a Nolan movie.
Yeah.
We are wrapped.
Yeah, right.
But I will say this for all those guys that are enjoying this, Alligator will be back and back and back and back. We're gonna have many conversations with them, discussions with them as we go along this pod journey, and I'm super excited for you guys to follow. You gotta do the whole follow, like, and subscribe. You gotta do that. That's the move. Any closing words for you, Daniel?
That's the move, Joe. That's the move. Alligator.
Okay. I just thank you very much for letting me be on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Anytime, man. We're looking forward to having you come back. It's been really informative and insightful.
Thank
you. You know, for anyone listening, you know, to achieve greatness, surround yourself with greatness.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Peace.
We out.